I'm just going to take you through very, very quickly and basically how to set up an opt-in ad in Ads Manager. You're going to see these 3 layers over and over again. And you see how like this looks like different tabs up here. We have the campaign layer, we have the ad set layer, and we have the ads layer. And you're going to see this a few times and I'll point it out every time. Campaign level, where you are deciding your highest level of what you want the ad to do. So I want this ad to promote more video views. I want this ads to get more opt-ins. I want this, and that's the only thing you're deciding on the campaign level. The ad set level are more like logistical things, like when are you running the ad? When is it starting? When is it ending? Who is it going to? The audience. And how much you're spending and where is it showing up? So this is where you're deciding, are you only running ads on Instagram? Are you only running ads on Instagram stories? Or are you putting it every place? And then the ads layer, this 3rd layer right here, this is where all of the creative decisions are. So that's where you're putting in the video, you're putting in your post copy, you are everything creative. Okay, so let's go. All I'm doing, I'm clicking this green create button, and here is our campaign level decision. So it is going to ask you what your campaign objective is, and awareness is, and it gives you these little, so you don't have to remember this, it'll walk you through this once you're doing it. Awareness is good for, if you're looking at this like little side menu, reach, brand awareness, video views, store locations awareness. You might use this if you want reach or video views. Reach is good because it's just like literally I want this in front of a bunch of eyeballs. So the example here would be if it's open, a 5-day open cart for your mastermind, and you want to make sure everyone on your email list knows, you would want to have the audience be your email list, and you would want to do a reach campaign because you're just trying to like echo from your email list, like it's open, like don't miss it. Or video views would be if you, we'll talk about this when we're talking about funnels in a little bit. And that's just like, you want people to watch a video that has been uploaded onto as like a Facebook post or an Instagram post. Traffic, you probably won't use traffic. So engagement, you might use engagement, but it's more, you usually use it in more advanced settings. One way that you can use engagement is if you are starting a new ad campaign and you want to build up the social credibility of having a bunch of likes and comments on the post, and not just being an ad with like 0 likes and 0 comments. You can first do it as an engagement campaign and get some likes and comments on it, and then you can take the little ID from that ad and put it into an opt-in campaign or put it into some other ad campaign. And it's that all of the engagement sticks on it. So that's an example of how you could use engagement, but that's like a quote unquote more advanced one. Leads, you will use often. The conversions one right here, that's probably the one you're going to use the most. App promotion, you're not going to use. Sales, you will use as well, because you can see it's good for those conversions. So where leads is like, that's for your opt-in campaigns. Sales, you're going to use for if you're retargeting during a launch and you're doing an entry-level product, you're trying to do that self-funding ad, you'd use sales for that, and you'd get sales for that $17 product or whatever. Okay, but I'm doing a lead, and you can name it right here, and I'm just gonna go sample mystery room opt-in and paste. And with naming, just make sure you're naming it so that when you're looking back, and if you're doing a bunch of variations, you know exactly what it is you're looking at, or else you're gonna have to click into the ad and it's just really annoying. So this could be like, I would name it sample mystery room opt-in for my campaign. Under the ad set, I would say cold audience business owners, because on the ad set level, I'm defining who my audience is. And then under the ad, I would say, like, if there's any variations in the creative, I would say like pink shirt or Beyonce reel. just so that when you're like at a glance looking at it, you know what's inside of it. Okay. So now see again, we have our 3 levels. We have our campaign level, our ad set level, and our ad level. And we're still on the campaign level, and you're pretty much doing nothing else. Do not change this. It is going to get really mad at you and like shut down your ad account if you change this, because the special ad categories, it's like for people who are in politics. Can you see like how it's like you're talking about credit card offers, you're talking about job offers, you're talking about housing, you're talking about social issues. Like you might be talking about social issues, but like that's not what this is about. So don't choose one of these. It'll make you like send your identification in the mail and like all this crazy stuff. So don't just leave it blank. So that's all you have to do on the campaign level. We just chose leads. And then now we're going next. And here is our ad level, our ad set level. You can see we're now in the middle of the 3, our second one. And I'm going to keep it website. This pretty much means I'm sending someone to an opt-in page where you can do like instant forms and Messenger or instant forms right here, and it will pretty much do a form, an opt-in form within Facebook or within Instagram. I find it, you might want to experiment with that. But you're going to have to set up more. So easiest is we're just clicking website and you're sending someone to an opt-in page. Okay, for your conversion event for an opt-in, change it to just lead. It is a standard event on Facebook. Everyone has lead as a conversion event. Even after the privacy changes between Apple and Facebook, this will still work for the most part. It used to be something where you could have the conversion event be like a thank you page, like, and you put in the URL of the thank you page, and you can still do that. But because of the tracking changes, it doesn't work as effectively. So just leave it as lead. Okay. Dynamic creative is something that you can turn on. It's my favorite way of testing creative. I am going to not do it yet, but I'll come back to it in a second, because it's not more advanced, but it's not the most basic thing you can do. And you keep scrolling down. We don't do anything under optimization and delivery, but budget and schedule we do want. So a great number to start at for an opt-in campaign, if you're promoting a lead magnet, is $25 a day. Everyone asks. It's just a great sweet spot. And if you are, if you're trying to do split testing where you're testing a bunch of options, you might want to go like $50 a day for 3 days just to like get some data in there and see which ones perform the best. But in general, I just go with $25 a day. You would choose your start date. You can start anytime, but a great time to start is a Monday morning at like, I don't know, 6 a.m. Eastern time, which would be 1 a.m. Hawaii time. So that's what I would put in there. You do not have to, you can start anytime, but like, if you think about it, the way the Facebook pixel works and the way that ads work is it is trying to get you what you want. So it is going to, in the first few hours, in the first few days, but mainly the first few hours, it is going to look at what about this person and engage with this ad. What data is about this person that like they opted in, and they're going to show it to more people like them. So if you're starting your ad at like 1 a.m., it could be shown, like the people who react most could be in a weird ass country where your clients don't exist. And it's going to start showing it to more people like that, just because those are the people who first interacted with the ad. So like a Monday morning at, or like you can think of like 8 a.m. Pacific time, like think about your time zone of where most of your people are and start then is a smart idea. And you don't have to put an end time, but if you only wanted to run the ad for like 5 days or like during your launch period, you just set an end date. And I would do like 9 p.m. Hawaii time because that is midnight Pacific. And yours will not be in Hawaii time. Yours will be in whatever time zone you're in, obviously. Okay, so we did our website, we did our budget, we did our time, and now we're looking at audiences, which is what everyone asked questions about. It is now at the point where the artificial intelligence in Facebook is most likely smarter than you. So we want to give them a lot to work with. And it used to be that you had to be super specific of like, I only want people who are in major cities, within 25 miles of major cities in the US, who are between the ages of 25 and 30, and they're interested in like this specific book. That used to be the case, but now Facebook has so much more data that it's smarter than us. So you can actually be insanely broad here. And over here in this little corner, it's going to tell you how big your audience is. So I've changed nothing. I just have anyone, all genders, all ages in the United States, and it gives me an audience of 255 million. That is too specific. A good number range is between 150,000 people on the low end and 12 million people on the high end, which is a major, massive range. And those are just the edge points. But if you're in the middle of there, you're fine. Like this is just too big. Even though it gives us a nice little green color, it's saying that, but it's also telling us, it tells you nice things. Like your audience selection is fairly broad. So it's telling you, like, you should make this more specific. So great. Maybe I want people who have, oh, this is my custom audiences. So custom audiences right here is if you have audiences like I have a lookalike of my email list. I have my email list. I have anyone who's opted into my opt-in over the last 10 days. So these are custom audiences that I've set up over time. But for an opt-in campaign, I'm trying to do a cold audience. So I'm not putting in custom audiences, but I am going to change my location to what some people call the Big Four. And that would be United States, Canada, United Kingdom, and Australia. If you don't want people in any of these countries, don't include them. But if you want a slightly to be more specific in terms of their interests, but are less caring about their location, those 5 countries are great. Age, I probably like, let's say 25 to 65 plus. Excellent. And one little tiny side comment is if you are leaving it at 18 or anything below 21 and you mention drinking or alcohol in your ad content, your ad is going to get rejected. So either you don't mention alcohol or you make sure your audience is over 21. And you like there are different specific words and subjects that can get your ad rejected, and you can either resubmit it and just be like, this should be approved because a bot rejected it, or you change it. So if you're nervous about your ad, don't talk about cocktails. Okay, so I'm going to leave all genders, but you can change it to men and women or all. Then detailed targeting is where we get slightly more specific. But if we look over here, we're still at around 300 million people, which is way too big. But I could do like active business owners. Okay. So see over here that the second I changed my detailed targeting, it changed my estimated audience size to our good range. It's now 1.1 to 1.3 million people. So we're now in the good range just by adding that one tiny change. But like, I don't know, if you're like, do creativity work, you could do visual arts. Anyone who is interested in visual arts instead. See, that's still a little too big, right? It's 148 million to 175 million. So you'd want to add more, you would want to narrow this down, which is like either you choose a different topic or you start excluding, which is like, I want people who are interested in art, visual arts, but I want to exclude anyone who's pro-Trump, like, right? That's how, that would be the excluding. And define further is like, because you can broaden it by just adding more topics right in here. You can add as many topics as you want right here. So you could, like, if we could do active business owners for all of these categories. We could include all 3 of those if we wanted. Or active business owners. And now we have an audience of 2.9 to 3.4, which is still in our good range, but maybe you want to define further, and define further would be all of this, but they also must include this other area, which could be they're into meditation. I don't know. They're in, oh, that's way too, do you see how you can see the audience size? That's gonna be way too small. It's only 27,000 people. So like maybe it's people who are into visual arts. There we go. And I'm very clearly, I'm making this off the top of my head. You would be using your the clients that you want when you're doing this, instead of just off the top of your head. So I have a lovely audience size within our 150,000 to 12 million of 2.4 to 2.8 million. And nothing else here. So with placements, it's going to always default you to recommended advanced placements. And in general, I never, ever, ever, ever use that. If you forget to change it, it's fine, but I always go to manual placements, because if you choose advanced placements, it's going to include the Facebook audience network, which I've never heard anyone getting good results with the audience network. It's essentially like if you go to like a massive website and they have these like weird ass clickbaity articles right underneath, like that's pretty much the audience network. So I switched to manual placement. So this is where my ad is showing up. I will uncheck audience network. I will uncheck messenger. And if you want to stay like super safe, you're going to just keep checked the Facebook feed and the Instagram feed. And you're going to keep on Instagram stories and and I'm going to uncheck everything else. So on the basic Facebook feed, Instagram stories, Facebook stories, which is like echoes what we've already talked about, which is just amplify what's already working. And you've been posting on Facebook and Instagram in those places. You can also add in, if you want to start getting fancy, you can add in the Facebook right column, which is like literally just like the side menu of Facebook. Those ads work well. And you can also add in the reels. Okay, so that is everything for our ad set level. And now our final layer, this third layer, is our ads. So this is where we are being specific around what our creative we're using. So here's my Instagram account, and I'm scrolling down. And primary, this is where like add creative, here we are. This is the main thing we're changing on this page, which is your primary text is literally what your caption is. Your media is what the video or the image. So I'm just going to go add image to keep it simple. You could just upload an image here that you already have, or like you can pull from these account images or things that you have on file. You can also pull directly from Instagram here. So you can click your Instagram images. Let's see what comes up if I add video. So here's things I've already uploaded. So here's like the video. And on the next page, once you select your media, it gives you the option to crop based on placement, which you absolutely want to do, because it will give you recommended, which you're just thinking about, does this make sense or not? So I'm leaving the original for, because this was sized for stories and reels, so that's already the right size. The feeds, it wants me to do 1-to-1. So, And so I'm like, great, I'll do 1-to-1. You don't always have to take their suggestions, but then you can like literally crop here. And then for the right column, this one's a little, I would actually replace this one because you see how my video is a vertical video, and there's no way that this is going to fit into this horizontal frame. So I would just straight up replace it with something else, which you can do. It's like, sure, let's do this thing and do my 6:19 and I crop it and yay. This one I like, this obviously, this is a terrible example, but I'm just showing you how to do this. Okay. And then I leave standard enhancements on, which is essentially what I told you to do of like, make things more saturated and make things more contrasty. It'll do that for you. So I click done. And then so you can see it gives this mock-up, real-time mock-up on the side, which is fun. And you can say words, words, words. You want to have the spiffy headline. And ideally you already have this written, and you're just your Facebook link. But you can see right here, here's our mock-up, and you can see where it's cut off. You can see where it'll start cutting it off and showing the see more button. The headline is what's down here. So free download. And you'll see it's popping up right here. Leave, learn more. Description barely shows up or matters, so I wouldn't put a description, but the final thing is you're just adding a URL right here, and this is the URL of your opt-in page. Just adding in URL parameters, and these are just like you see in this URL how there's like a gazillion added on things to the end of this. What you're doing is like it's adding things onto the back end of this so that it gives the different URL, and it essentially talks to Google Analytics. So we are just build a URL parameter, campaign source, Facebook ads, campaign medium. I put in placement right here from this drop down, campaign name, sample mystery room, and Facebook content, dog reel. And you can see this is what it's tacking on to the end of your learn more, the URL of your opt-in page, so that Google Analytics can track it for you. Okay, and then you would just hit publish, and it might take a few hours for Facebook to approve it. It might take a few days for Facebook to approve it. So if you're doing it for a timeline, make sure you submit it a good week ahead of time, or at least a few days ahead of time, because it can take some time depending on whatever else is happening in the world. Okay, so you just set up an opt-in. It took us what, 15 minutes? So simple, right?